LC52, it's Mrs. Hernandez. I hope you're having a terrific Tuesday. Today we're going to be talking about making conversions within the metric system. Yesterday we talked about the customary system. Today we're talking about the metric system. You will still be needing your STAR conversion chart in your notebook to help you with your conversions today, because we're going to be using the exact same steps that we did yesterday. So our first example is asking us to convert 40 liters into milliliters. We're going to start by creating a table. We already have a table set up for us for our first example with the labels of the units of measurement at the top, since we're talking about liters to milliliters. Our labels at the top of the table are going to be liters and milliliters. To get the information for the next row in our table, we're going to use our conversion chart. So on the chart, I can see that 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. So I'm going to write 1 liter to 1,000 milliliters. The next thing I want to know is, what is the relationship between 1 and 1,000? And remember, that relationship has to be either multiplication or division. So I can see that I'm going to be multiplying by 1,000. 1 times 1,000 is 1,000. That's the relationship we're going to be using to find the missing information. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go back to the problem, and we're going to take this 40 liters and put it into our table. And because its measurement is in the units of liters, we're going to put that in the liters column. Now here's why it's important to look for the relationship between 1 and 1,000, because we're going to use that same relationship to find this missing information right here. So we want to do 40 times 1,000, and 40 times 1,000 is 40,000, and there's our missing information. Our next example is asking us to convert 420,000 milligrams into grams. We're going to go through the same exact steps. We're going to begin by creating a table. We're going to put the units of measurement at the top, so milligrams and grams. We're going to use the conversion chart to get our first row of information. Grams and milligrams are units that measure weight and mass, so I'm going to find that in this section, and 1 gram is equivalent to 1,000 milligrams. So here I've got it milligrams to grams, so I'm not going to write 1 to 1,000 because it's 1 gram is equivalent to 1,000 milligrams. So I want to make sure that I have the correct numbers below the correct labels in my table. Now I want to find the relationship between 1,000 and 1. And that's going to be to divide by 1,000. 1,000 divided by 1,000 is 1. The next step is to take the information from the problem and put it on the table. So this is 420,000 milligrams. I'm going to put that in the milligrams column. And now I need to go back to that relationship from the first row, which is to divide by 1,000. And now I want to talk to you about a rule that we studied a few times this year, and remind you of when you are dividing by multiples of 10 or multiplying by multiples of 10. So in this case we're dividing When you're dividing, the decimal will move to the left, and you move to the left the number of zeros in the number. So we've got 3 zeros are in 1,000. So we're going to take 420,000, and dividing by 1,000 means taking that decimal, moving it to the left because it's division, left for division, and we're going to bounce it over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to get an answer of 420 grams. Now, if you don't like that rule and it doesn't work for you, you can always divide the traditional way and set it up as 420,000 divided by 1,000, and you'll get the same exact answer. Okay, moving on to our next example, we are going to be converting 121 kilometers into centimeters. Step 1, we need to create our table. And put our units of measurement at the top, so kilometers and centimeters. To get the information for the first row, we're going to go to the conversion chart. This time we're measuring length, but there is one of those situations like we saw yesterday where we've got to do a little bit of a double conversion, because when I look at kilometers, I only see kilometers to meters, but we're talking about kilometers to centimeters. So I'm going to have to go up the multiplication chart. So if 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters and 1 kilometer is equivalent to 1,000 meters, I want to multiply 100 times 1,000 to get that 1 kilometer is equivalent to 100,000 centimeters, because 100 times 1,000 is 100,000. And then I want to put that on my table. So 1 kilometer is 100,000 centimeters. Now I want to use the relationship between 1 and 100,000, or find the relationship between 1 and 100,000, and that's going to be to multiply by 100,000. Okay, our next step is going to be to get the information from the problem, which was 121 kilometers, and I'm going to put that in the kilometers column of the table. And then I want to use that relationship between 1 and 100,000, which is to multiply by 100,000. Okay, and now when we divide and we move the decimal to the left, because we're multiplying, we're going to be moving the decimal to the right. When you multiply, the decimal gets moved to the right. So we're going to take 121, and we're going to be moving the decimal to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places. So here's where the decimal would be, and we need to move to the right 5 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to fill that in with zeros. So our answer is going to be very large, 12,100,000. 12,100,000 centimeters. for our next example, we're going to be converting centimeters to meters. So we'll start again with our table. We'll put our units of measurement at the top, so centimeters and millimeters. For our first row of information, we're going to go to our conversion chart. So centimeters to millimeters is 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10 millimeters. We want to go back to the problem and take the information that we know, which is 10 and 5/10 centimeters. We'll put that in the centimeters column. We'll look for the relationship between 1 and 10, and that's going to be multiplying by 10. So we'll use that same relationship here to find our missing measurement. Since we're multiplying, again, we're going to be moving the decimal to the right. Multiplication is moving the decimal to the right. So we're going to take 10 and 5/10. 10 has, we're multiplying by 10, and 10 has 1 0, so we'll be moving the decimal one place to the right. And that's going to look like that. So 10 and 5/10 centimeters is equivalent to 105 millimeters. And for our last example, we are going to be converting 40 meters into millimeters. So again, starting with our table, putting our units of measurement at the top, meters and millimeters. And then for our first row of information, we're going to go to the conversion chart. And we're measuring the length, so we'll be in the length section. And I go to meters and I see that it only gives me that it's equivalent to 100 centimeters. So I'm going to have to do one of those double conversions again. So if 1 centimeter is equivalent to 10 millimeters and 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters, I want to multiply those to find that 1 meter is equivalent to 1,000 millimeters, because 10 times 100 is 1,000. So over here on my table, I want to write 1 meter is equivalent to 1,000 millimeters. Now I'm going to find that relationship between 1 and 1,000, and that's going to be to multiply by 1,000. I'm going to grab the information from the problem, which is 40 meters, and I'm going to put that in the meters column of my table. I'm going to use the same relationship that I did in my first row, so I'm going to be multiplying by 1,000. And when we multiply, we move the decimal to the right. Multiplication is moving the decimal to the right. So we're going to take 40, and we're going to be moving the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So 1, 2, 3. I need to fill that in with zeros, and I'm going to get 40,000. So 40 meters is equivalent to 40,000 millimeters. Okay, if you have not already folded this in half and glued it into your notebook, you need to do that now. Please make sure you go back to your notes and you use your star chart today as you work on your practice page. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.